Tonight on Joy News Prime, dead silence in court as video showing gruesome mob lynching of Army Major Maxwell MAHAMA at Dentroboase is played back in court in the prosecution's attempt to pin the crime on the 14 suspects currently being held for the murder 4 years ago.
Attackers increase in number. Rough-edged stones, metals, cement blocks are the weapons of this attack that lasts more than 5 minutes. They are dropped on his head, stomach and all parts of the body.
Accra High Court dismisses application for interlocutory injunction filed by one of the students seeking to restrain ACHIMOTA school from carrying out its decision to not admit them.
Necessary for us to pave the way for future generations of Ghanaians, because as my sister just said, a whole colonial law in this time is used to disenfranchise Ghanaians with impunity. It is necessary for us to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future.
Ghana Grid Company blames Monday afternoon power outage in parts of the country on a fault on a major transmission line. The General Secretary of the NDC, however, wants government to own up to the numerous outages and concede the country is faced with an energy crisis.
The people they are forcing to talk, they are not sincere with us. Doomsday had come. And this one has come because of the negligence of this government.
In business, Ghana's debt to GDP ratio expected to hit 81.5% of GDP by end of year. We have more from the IMF. And later on at 8 p.m, in just about an hour from now, we premiere on TV the latest Hotline documentary, Crashed. My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanofa studios at Kokomlimli here in Accra, on your digital terrestrial TV because you're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. State prosecutors Monday played back in court the video of the gruesome killing of Army Major Maxwell MAHAMA, who died at the hands of some residents of Dentroboase 4 years ago. The videos and pictures showing a mob beating up a helpless man were presented as evidence to identify 13 of the 14 persons being tried for the murder of the soldier. The state is gearing up to conclude its case against the accused, with its final witness, Chief Inspector Samuel Ejakwa, taking the stand. Court correspondent Joseph Akable reports there was dead silence as the video was played in court.
The video evidence submitted to the court by Chief Inspector Samuel Ejakwa is one of many videos showing the gruesome murder that went viral sometime in May 2017. The shaky footage starts with people in pursuit of an individual along a tarred road. Someone is heard saying he's escaping. He adds, "You are allowing the thief to escape." The man who is under attack veers off the tarred road and runs towards an unpainted building. His attackers increase in number. Rough-edged stones, metals, cement blocks are the weapons of this attack that lasts more than 5 minutes. They are dropped on his head, stomach and all parts of the body. He falls to the ground. He is nonetheless moving and his attackers intensify the assault as others say he is alive. More stones are dropped on his face. He is virtually motionless at this stage, but his attackers don't end the attack. They drop more stones and beat him some more with sticks. The now motionless body leaning against the unpainted building is dragged away into the bush. One man, sporting a pink shirt, grabs a cement block and approaches the motionless body. He violently throws the block against the face, leaving it with more blood. Chief Inspector Samuel Ejakwa pauses the video each time to identify the accused persons. By the end of the video, 13 of the 14 persons have been identified. He also presents to the court pictures taken from the video showing the face of each of the 13. A second version of the video with a slow motion effect is also played. While some of the accused persons watch, others take their eyes completely off the screen. Supreme Court Judge Mariam Owusu, who is hearing the case as an additional High Court judge, looks away most of the time as the tape rolls. At the end, she announces a 2-minute break and dashes off to her chamber. She returns and the case is shortly adjourned to April 19 for continuation.
Staying with the cause, the two Rastafarian students denied admission by the ACHIMOTA school for keeping dreadlocks will have to stay home until a case they have filed in court challenging the court's decision is determined. This was after an Accra High Court Human Rights Division Monday dismissed an application for interlocutory injunction filed by one of the students, Iras Magai, seeking to restrain ACHIMOTA school from carrying out its decision to not admit them. According to the High Court Judge, Justice Gifty J. Addo, the application for injunction, if granted, could prejudice the entire suit before her. My colleague Kweku Asante was in court and has filed this report.
According to the High Court Judge, Justice Gifty J. Addo, the application for injunction, if granted, could prejudice the entire suit before her. She also noted that the application failed to appreciate the difference between interim injunction, which lasts for 10 days, and an interlocutory injunction, which lasts until the final determination of the substantive case. Hence, the applicant cannot apply for both injunctions at the same time. Justice Gifty J. Addo continued that if she was to grant an interlocutory injunction, it would constitute a travesty of justice because the respondents in the matter had not been put on notice and heard. However, Justice Gifty J. Addo says she will expeditiously determine the issues before her, ordering that the respondents must file their response to the suit within 7 days after service. The applicant was urging the court to compel ACHIMOTA school to admit him to further his education. This application for interlocutory injunction was filed pending the determination of the substantive case filed in court after ACHIMOTA High School refused to admit the applicant and another Rastafarian student who declined to cut their dreadlocks. But father for one of the Rastafarian students, Ras Aswad in Krabia, says they have started taking their children through homeschooling.
He's already started his education online, and there are individuals that come in the house to actually give him some teaching. Remember, he was taught at home before he did the homeschooling, right? So that is not new to us in terms of keeping him up to the level so that when the exam comes, he will be able to deal with it.
Ras Aswad in Krabia added they will follow the case until justice is served.
But it is necessary for us to pave the way for future generations of Ghanaians, because as my sister just said, a whole colonial law in this time is using to disenfranchise Ghanaians with impunity. It is necessary for us to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future.
Meanwhile, a member of the legal team of the Rastafarian students say they will comply with the court order to serve ACHIMOTA school immediately for the substantive case to be heard.
But by her order, when we serve this ruling on the parties, that is the respondents, that is the ACHIMOTA school, the GES, Ministry of Education and Attorney General, when we serve today's ruling on them, they have only 7 days and no more 21 days. The rule says 21 days, but the judge is saying that because she wants to deal with this substantive matter itself, the enforcement of human rights, that is what she wants to deal with, and not take somebody in for 10 days and then after 10 days you come back again for another application. So in her mind, she's not too convinced, especially when the ACHIMOTA school has not been served with a substantive matter.
Lawyers for the applicants were hoping that the court will grant the application for injunction after arguing before the court that if the case lasts for a longer time in terms of the actual trial, these students will lose an opportunity to study with their mates for at least an academic year. The trial judge refused this application, saying that if she grants this application for injunction, it could potentially have an impact on the decision, the final decision to be made. However, she's moving for a speedy trial, ordering ACHIMOTA school and the other respondents to respond to the substantive suit within 7 days upon receipt of these issues. The case has been adjourned to 22nd April 2021 for the substantive case to be heard.
Elsewhere, High Court in Cape Coast has ordered parties in the Asing North MP's dual citizenship case to file their written submissions and address the court based on the issues set down for trial. Lawyers at the last sitting were asked by the presiding judge to come to court with their proposed issues that would guide the trial. Richard Kojunyako was in court and has filed this report.
The presiding judge, Justice Kwesi Boakye, advised the parties that in the interest of justice, they should make their proposals on the memorandum of issues, after which case management conference followed. On Monday, lawyer for the Asing North MP, Abraham Amaliba, brought forth 11 issues. Lawyer for the petitioner, Frank Davis, had 5 issues, while the EC lawyer had 3 issues. At the end of the proceedings, the parties agreed to set down 3 issues for trial. Presiding Judge Justice Kwesi, in adjourning the case to the 12th of May 2020, asked the lawyers to prepare to address him on the 3 issues set down for the trial. He indicated that after the addresses by the lawyers, he would announce the date for the delivery of judgments. One of the issues that was set down for the trial was whether or not the MP was qualified at the time of filing his nomination to contest the 2020 parliamentary elections. Richard Kwejenyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
The Ghana Grid Company Limited is blaming Monday afternoon's outage in parts of the country on a fault on the Abuade and Womaso transmission line. Gridco, in a statement, says it is working with relevant players in the generation and distribution chain to resume power transmission to all affected areas. And it indicates at 1:36 p.m. on Monday, April 12, 2021, the power system experienced a fault on the Abuade and Womaso transmission line, leading to the loss of supply to some parts of the country. The technical team immediately initiated restoration efforts and was able to fix the transmission network within 30 minutes. Gridco is working with relevant players in the generation and distribution chain to resume power transmission to all affected areas. And it indicated that currently more than 80% of the affected substations have been fully restored. Efforts are ongoing to restore the remaining 20%. And this was earlier in the afternoon. And it concludes any inconvenience caused is deeply regretted. Meanwhile, Ghana, the country has added to its electricity generation capacity thanks to a solar power project operated by Bui Power Authority. The 20 megawatts from the solar project was connected to the national grid on Friday. The power it generates will, however, be available only during the day when the sun is shining. Chief Executive of Bui Power Authority, Fred Owari, tells Joy News the ultimate goal is to scale up the solar plant to 250 megawatts.
That's the solar farm itself. We've tried various sources, work with various institutions, and today finally is when we brought the whole thing to fruition and now put solar energy onto the national grid. A number of people have worked on this project, and I take this opportunity to salute the staff of Bui Power Authority, especially the engineers who have been working on the project.
So how many megawatts are we talking about?
Well, the total would be 250 megawatts. We're doing it in phases of 50 megawatts each. We finished that one, I think, late last year, but we've been working with Gridco to make sure that all the parameters and grid codes have been satisfied. They did that over a period of time, and I think it was on last Thursday they finished the final test and gave us the green light to put it online. Even that, we're doing 25, and I'm sure by the end of this month, the other 25 would have been added to it.
So now we have 25 added to the national grid.
Well, yes, but the actual generation, one measured, was 22.
22 megawatts.
Yes.
That is huge.
Yeah, it is.
And someone asks, would you see this as a shift from what Bui is noted for, because hydro
no,
is the primary source?
No. As of today, our Enabling Act itself has been amended to allow us to do other renewables, which includes the solar, wind, and any other renewable generation that we may wish to enter. So it's not as if we've shifted from our core mandate. But having said so, yes, it's an additional mandate that we have taken on, and it should be looked at as such.
Was it difficult?
The Bui Dam, a peaking plant, is currently unable to generate the 400 megawatts needed to support the national grid in the evening when demand for electricity is highest. This is because of the low level of water in the dam. Mr. Owari explains the plant is still able to generate some megawatts during peak hours.
I mean, let me be bold enough and say that I think Gridco has misled the minister in making such a sad statement. Because as we sit here talking right now, Bui is in operation. We have 3 units which work. at 133.
It's not true that the water
It's not true. It's not. That water has gone down without any doubt whatsoever. But this is not an unforeseen act. We knew this. And last year, when we submitted our supply plan, we indicated quite clearly that this year we will not be able to generate as much as we generated last year. And we'll give you them month by month how much we're going to. If there's a problem, let's talk about it. But they can't put it on buoy because we knew last year that the supply plan would be what it is. And so they should have looked at our supply plan and make alternative arrangement to fill in the gap. But to say that there's doing so in Ghana because it's quite misleading. And I think you can make your own independent investigation.
What capacity are you generating now?
And as at this morning, I think 90 from this hydro.
And your full capacity is 400?
It's 400.
And you are producing 90? 90. That's like 30% of full.
Well, yeah, but we knew this is what it would be. It's not something which has been sprung on us, unprepared. We knew last year that it would be like this, and we informed them. So it has nothing to do with us.
In a related development, the General Secretary of the NDC is asking government to own up to the blackouts being experienced across the country. Government has argued the current outages have to do with ongoing upgrades to the electricity transmission network. Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Puku-Prempeh, at a recent visit to Gridco, explained the current situation cannot be compared with the doomsday experience under the erstwhile John Mahama administration.
The month of May, around my birthday, there's going to be I wonder what a birthday present I'm going to get. There will be systematic power outages. So we have invited both ECG and Gridco. And in the light of that, let's set a plan and communicate the people who will be affected way before it happens.
Well, NDC General Secretary Johnson Sedun Ketiawa strongly disagrees. He told MFA Power on the probe Sunday night, government is not being truthful.
Everybody in this country, you are talking about improving the system, building new substations and new transmission lines, and so that is leading to doom so. How does it contribute to doom so? If you are building a new substation somewhere, the substation, when you are building substation or new power line, okay, you will not be working on the existing power line. You are putting in place new infrastructure. And until you finish putting in place that infrastructure, you don't touch the line that is there. So how does your building of a substation somewhere contribute to doing so? It doesn't. It is after you have finished the new line or finished the new substation and you want to change over. And that will take you not less than a week to do. You understand?
But
then you tell everybody
the recommendations of the engineers. They are asking for the power to go off so they can work on it. That's
why? Because unless you put this line off, I cannot work on this.
But that's the recommendation they say.
It is not. They are lying to Ghanaians. They don't have any reason, so they have to lie. If you tell one lie, you need several lies to maintain the lie. It has been said that two things that are difficult to maintain in life is lies and luxury. Lies and luxury. The people they are forcing to talk, they are not sincere with us. Doomso had come. And this one has come because of the negligence of this government. Okay. It is because of the actions and their inactions that has led us into this situation. And so they must own up. The politicians must be speaking as well.
And not just
they should not be pushing. And you see, the way they have compromised state institutions, didn't we make noise about it? You change all the leadership in the power sector and put your stooges there. So the stories they are telling you is the parliamentarian, is the politician stories that are being told, except that the people are coming with the face of not being politicians. What is the difference?
Let's go back to the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, explaining that the current outages being experienced across the country cannot be described as doom. So,
the issue of financial challenges doesn't even come in. You heard the Chief Executive say it. Because they are doing the project, we can all see. So if, what does finance coming? The people don't have money to buy lunch, or I don't know. But as far as we can see, the project is an ongoing project. So it's not about finances. It's just that if you are renovating your house, sometimes it's more complicated and it's more expensive than even building a new house. These are lines that we have just been informed were strung, some from 1950, some from 1965. The power it was supposed to transmit, Accra has expanded tremendously. So they are giving us power lines that can improve the power situation in Accra. We just need the forbearance of Ghanaians, because what we are planning and what we are implementing is the best for them.
So within the foreseeable future, will there be other infrastructure upgrades needed to sustain power supply?
In the budget of this year, it is clearly talked about in system improvement all over the country. So we are going to continue to improve the systems that have been strong since the 50s till we get it done.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but later on at 8 p.m. in just about half an hour, a little over half an hour, we'll premiere on TV the latest Hotline documentary, Crashed, and Seth Kwame Boateng, who produced that documentary, will be telling us what to expect. Do stay tuned in. A group of traders operating along pavements in the central business district of KUMASI are up against the Metropolitan Assembly over what they describe as this gross disrespect and breach of the agreement. The United Petty Traders Association claims members have come under attacks and harassment by city guards despite an agreement with the KMA. The group has petitioned the Ashanti Regional Minister over the matter. There's more in this report.
The traders claim that Kumasi Mayor Osei Sibiantwi facilitated a trip to Accra last year to learn proper ways of doing business on the pavement. They have since been operating in accordance with best practices. Vice Chairman of the United Petty Traders Association, Emmanuel Amoa, however, laments KMA's breach of agreement.
Last year, November 2020,
the mayor sent us to Accra last year to replicate the practices done there for our trade. Now Metro Guards come in his name to sack us from the pavement. Chairman of the group, Kwabna Frimpong, says the traders feel disrespected.
January 15 to out now.
Traders on the pavement have been harassed since January. The assembly does not inform the leaders here on any move they make. Even with decongestion, they do not plan with us, but have put us in much discomfort. Some of the aggrieved traders spoke to Joy News.
I have been left stranded in the market since morning. Anytime they come to seize our goods, we pay money before they are released.
They bypass those and other areas anytime they come to seize goods, but always harass us. Is this the only place for decongestion?
We have incurred so much loss.
Public Relations Officer for KMA, Efia Konedu, has responded to their claims.
The assembly, yes, they sponsor them to go and see with the intention that they are going to learn new thing, add it to themselves, so that when they come, they will go strictly by what they learned. And so they themselves told the assembly that by 10th of January this year, they were going to leave and then move to their designated places. And so I don't see why they will turn around and say that the assembly has given the place to them to trade forever. It is never true.
Elkuma Leaks report for Joy News, Kumasi.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break to bring you business. Stay tuned in. And welcome to business. Ghana's public debt stock is not going to take a nosedive anytime soon, as it is expected to hit 81.5% of gross domestic product by the end of this year. Now, the IMF has revealed in its April 2021 fiscal monitor this particular trend. This means that the country's debt will go above 300 billion cedis before the end of this year. Here's more.
Per the IMF data on low-income developing countries, Ghana's debt to GDP ratio will surge to 83.2% in 2022 and then further to 84.8%, 86% and 86.6% in 2023, 2024 and 2025 respectively. It will however drop slightly to 85.5% in 2026. This could possibly push the economy into a highly debt-distressed category, as majority of revenue will be used to service debt, leaving only small fiscal space. In sub-Saharan Africa, Zambia and Congo Republic are the only that will record unsustainable debt levels worse than Ghana. On the average, debt of oil-producing countries is estimated 35.2% of GDP in 2021, whilst sub-Saharan Africa debt to GDP will be 7.2% of GDP. Analysts and market watchers are worried about Ghana's rising debt, as there is a higher risk of default going forward. Ghana's total all-time high of 291.6 billion cedis in December 2020, approximately 76.1% of GDP, the Bank of Ghana said. According to the figures, 141.8 billion cedis, approximately 24.7 billion US dollars. This is also equivalent to 37% of GDP. The domestic debt was, however, slightly higher at 149.8 billion cedis at the end of 2020, about 39.1% of GDP. The financial sector debt also stood at 15.3 billion cedis in December 2020, but 100 million cedis lower from September 2020 data. This is, however, equivalent to 4% of GDP.
Now, formalization of women-led businesses and entrepreneurship is the pillar to ensure that the Continental Free Trade Agreement area is successful. And to this end, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Kosi Yankee-Aye, is calling on African leaders and private sector players to sponsor regulations that seek to support women businesses on the continent. She was speaking at the capacity building workshop for women traders in the ECOWAS sub-region, of which we have more in this report.
The Continental Free Trade Agreement is set to benefit women more, since the continent has a higher number of women traders and businesses. Even before the protocol on women in trade will be concluded, Ghana is making efforts to get many women-led businesses and entrepreneurs become successful under the deal. According to the Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, Kosi Yankee-Aye, private sector players have a role to play in supporting women entrepreneurs.
For us in Ghana, we have embraced fully this partnership between government and the private sector to ensure that maximum benefit is derived from AFTAC. We believe that the benefits to be derived under AFTAC will not happen until it is properly and effectively implemented. And to highlight again, inclusive implementation. Accordingly, government has undertaken a series of public sensitizations and workshops across the length and breadth of the nation to update the private sector on the implementation of the AFTAC protocols and the operational requirements for effective trading in the market. The AFTAC is a major tool to transform African economies, and this transformation could be accelerated if women and gender issues are made central and incorporated in national AFTAC strategy documents for implementation.
And that's it for business. I'm Charles Aite.
You're watching Joy News Prime Time to bring you sports, and the Ghana Boxing Authority has issued a strong warning to boxers in the country after banning Richard Oblitekomi and Richard Harrison Latte for gross indiscipline. Former IBF lightweight champion Komi and former world heavyweight title contender Harrison now share a total of 7 years in bonds. According to the Ghana Boxing Authority, Komi made false accusations against its executives in a media interview, whereas Harrison Latte forged the signature of its General Secretary, Patrick Johnson. Now speaking on Sports Today, Patrick Johnson, who is the General Secretary of the GBA, urged Ghanaian boxers to be of good behavior in order to avoid sanctions.
As we stand, we've banned Richard 2 years not to have any activity, boxing activity, or any sanctioned program by GBA in Ghana.
All right. What kind of message do you want to put across with these two sanctions that you have meted out? What kind of message are you sending across to the licensees, especially our boxers and the managers and all of that?
Well, I would say that whatever has happened previously and GBA hasn't, taken any action of it, doesn't mean that GBA is just dormant, it's not do anything. All the boxers should behave very, very well. They are athletes, so they should go accordingly. They have to be more disciplined. And also, when they reach at the height, they become icon to the nation. And children and the younger ones are following them. So they should be very careful how they speak in public and be serious with whatever they are doing in life.
Now, President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kroku, has tasked the Ghana Police Service to do more towards cracking down on hooliganism in the country and in football. There is more in the following Joy Sports report.
In March this year, match officials of a Division 1 League game between Wanamafo Mighty Royals and Tano Bofaka were brutally assaulted. Videos of the incident were all over social media, sparking renewed calls for the perpetrators to be brought to book. It was the latest of at least 5 such cases in the past year alone. In an interview on the Joy Sports Link on Saturday, Kate Okreku, president of the Ghana Football Association, condemned the act but was quick to defend the FA's actions in dealing with the issues.
We ensure that clubs know exactly what it is to manage games successfully on match days, what the needs are in terms of security. But we cannot control the mindset of every individual in the world. Most importantly, every individual who wakes up in the morning, goes to our match centers to consume our domestic football. For which reason, you must always make that room available that somebody would misbehave. And when it is that people misbehave, people must be educated and must be made to go through the laid down processes within the football ecosystem, i.e. in seeking redress.
When asked why there has been no concrete action such as prosecution and prison sentences to deter others, he averred it is not his outfit's job in principle.
I sit here and I wholeheartedly condemn hooliganism that has been noticed or that has happened in some of the league centers. Yes. In some of the league centers. Yes. But clearly you could see that we are working on it. People who have misbehaved are going through the disciplinary committee, etc., etc.
Ket Okreku also revealed the FA has been in constant touch with the police service and other agencies to work with football stakeholders in improving security at games.
And you can read other aspects of that interview with my colleague Gary Alsmidla Sati on the Joy Sports link at myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensando. Many thanks for your time.
Right, it's time for Showbiz and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you, Easy. How you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You had a great weekend?
I did. It was an Amachi Dede weekend.
Oh,
so we're bringing
yeah.
it back.
It was a serious weekend.
And so, I mean, the first part has been aired. Okay. We're waiting for the second part this weekend. He's been making, lots of revelations in there, and he did mention about a bit of how you can be called legend, or what you must do to attain the name legend. Amachi Dede.
Chance to do something. You have to do it well so that people will appreciate it, and they will give you the name legend.
Legend.
Yes, sir. Give it to me.
Don't you love Amachidede?
I love Amachidede.
I love Amachidede too.
No. All right. Thank you very much, Ebra Hibex, for bringing us your base. You're welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, let's take a look at the top stories on myjoyonline.com. There are a number of stories there. Video footage of Major Mahama's gruesome murder played in High Court. And then U.S. Customs seizes snails, Frekese, other staff at JFK Airport from passenger arriving from Ghana. High Court orders parties in a Singh North MP's dual citizenship case to file written submissions. And then Twitter makes Ghana its Africa hub, operations hub. And you can go onto My Joy Online and get to read the rest of the stories there. Accra High Court dismisses interlocutory injunction application against ACHIMOTA school. All right, so you may have left home this morning with a promise to return to your family, to return. Well, 771 people left like that between January and March this year, but they could not keep that promise that they were going to return home. They were killed in a motor accident. That is why Joy News, together with the National Road Safety Authority, has over a year now been preaching safety on our roads and has led to our latest hotline documentary, Crashed, produced by Seth Kwame Boateng. As promised, it comes up right after this. Stay tuned in.